So name of the reading is corporate bonds. It's relatively easier readings to handle, and once you take down notes in the class today, then I don't think you would be required to revise this again and again. Before the exam, just revise through the notes and you should be fine for the exams. The focus of reading is more on how the US and European corporate bond functions, with a more specific focus on US bonds. We will have to learn different conventions which are used in the bond, and we will have to get acquainted with terminology used in the context of bonds. So these are the learning outcomes. I'm going to run through them quickly. We'll have to learn what are the indentures, then the maturity date and impact, different type of interest payment classification, zero coupon bond and reinvestment risk. Then there is a discussion on different category of bonds. So corporate, mortgage, collateral trust, equipment trust certificate, subordinated, convertible debenture bonds and guaranteed bonds. Mechanisms by which these bonds are retired before maturity. So we'll have to learn a lot of terminology here. Credit default risk, credit spread risk, and finally event risk and what may cause it in the corporate bonds. In fact, there's also high yield bond discussion. Okay. Then what happens in case of default, and we also look at the recovery rates. A bond indenture. So this is a issuer. Issuer means the company which has decided to issue the bonds. These are the bond investors who decided to invest their money into the bonds. So between this company and the issuer, there has to be a legal agreement, right, which will govern the rules and the dates at which payment would be made. So this legal agreement is referred to as a bond indenture. And every bond issue will have a corporate trustee involved. The job of this trustee is to carefully overlook whether the compliance of this agreement is being taken care of. So this indenture has a different clauses in them. They will have different terms and conditions. These terms and conditions are referred to as covenants. Covenants. And these covenants could be of two types. Either it could be a affirmative covenant or it could be a negative covenant. So I'm repeating the story again. Indenture is an agreement between the issuer and the bondholders, and that agreement will list the rights and responsibilities of the issuer. So those rights and responsibilities are referred to as covenants, and covenants could be of two types. It could be affirmative or it could be negative. One example of affirmative covenant is, one example could be to maintain a particular ratio. To maintain a ratio, or even easier, to make timely payments. So a firm is required to make timely interest payment or timely interest payment. That is an affirmative covenant. It is asking you to do something. Whereas if a firm is prohibition from issuing additional debt, then this type of covenant would be referred to as a negative covenant. Is that making sense to you? So if the covenant is requiring firm to do something, then that's an affirmative covenant. If it prohibits from doing something, then that's a negative covenant. And the job of this trustee is to ensure that all the covenants are being strictly followed. It is his job to interpret each of those covenants, and in case if there's a default, then come up with whatever the default scenario obligations are. That means if the interest is not paid on time, then it is the responsibility of the trustee to initiate the other processes. Trustee is a third party. Are we good with this? So covenants we have discussed. A trustee interprets the legal language of the indenture and works to make sure issuer fulfills all the obligation to the bondholders. Next learning outcome. what is the maturity date and how does it impact retirement? So maturity date is the date on which the bond matures and the face value gets repaid to the bondholder. And how does it affect retirement? So retirement will never be after the maturity date. Retirement would either be on maturity date or it would be before the maturity date. So that's what the learning outcome has. Then different types of interest payment classification. So in this learning outcome, they've divided this into 3 parts. Either it could be a fixed coupon payment, or it could be a floating coupon payment, or it could be a zero coupon payment. A fixed coupon payment could either be annual or it could either be semi-annual. That means you are paying interest either once a year or twice the year. So they have said in the text that semi-annual is the convention which is typically followed in US, and most of the other countries including Europe, they have said that the convention for coupon payment to be followed is annual payment. Okay, this is more of a generic discussion. Then a floating coupon payment is the coupon would be specified somewhat like this. It could be LIBOR plus, let us say, 200 basis point. Right? So LIBOR is referred to as the reference rate. LIBOR is the reference rate, and this 200 basis point is referred to as a spread. So for a floating coupon payment, it would be reference rate plus the spread. For a zero coupon bond, the bond might be issued like this. Let us say the issue price is 600. Issue price is 600, and let us say the face value of the bond is 1000. So then that 400 would be referred to as discount at issuance, and that is the true earning of the investor over the maturity of the bond. Have you written this? Now there is some additional discussion required on zero coupon bonds. So we are going to do some calculations relatively easier. Let us say we have a zero coupon bond with maturity of 4 years. Let us say the issue price, continuing with the previous example, 600, and let us say face value is 1000. That means an investor will invest 600 a year, and at the end of year 4 he will receive how much? 1000. So this is time 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. Now, would you agree with me that over the period of 4 years, investor is earning a total interest of 400? That means roughly he is earning about 100 per year. But we cannot amortize that 400 directly like this. We'll have to make use of time value of money. So how do we do that? Please do this with me. Second clear TVM, 600 negative present value, 600 negative present value, 1000 future value, 4 as n, compute IY. So this is YTM at issuance, yield to maturity at issuance, 13.62%. So whatever is the investment, every year that investor is earning 13.62. So now please do this. 600 multiplied with 1.1362. 600 multiplied with 1.1362. 680.72. Then 681.72 into 1.1362. 774.5 something. Then 774.5 into 1.1362. 880. Okay. And then 880 into 1.1362. 1362, that should be almost 1000. Correct. So that's how that bond discount is getting amortized over the period of 4 years. So what is the earning of the investor? First year he has been able to earn an interest of 81.72. But has he received that in cash? No, it is just accumulated into the value of the bond. He's not receiving that in cash. Second year his earning is the difference of these two values. Tell me how much is that? How much is the difference of these two values? 92.78. Third year 6.5, and then it is 120. So this is the interest income for year 1 and then year 2 and year 3. Now there are 2 points they have discussed in this context. Number 1, that a zero coupon bond has no reinvestment risk. A zero coupon bond has no reinvestment risk because you are not being given back that money. The money is with the company and the amount of money is being reinvested automatically at 13.62%. So as an investor, you do not have to worry about reinvesting that coupon. Is that clear? And second, investor will have to pay tax on 81.72 in year 1, even though he has not received cash. Even though he is not received cash. So from an investor perspective, he is being charged taxation on the accrued income. So first year he will have to pay taxes on that income of 81.72. Even though it's not received, there would be a negative cash outflow for the investor for some time.